Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to weave your plate that you make or purchase from manufacturers into a laminar armor. And for the timing reason, I have made a semi-finished workpiece here, and I will right now show you how to weave the remaining test plate into the half-finished armor. Now, for the materials, my plates are of Kydex plastic, very popular for making gun holster, but I find it quite durable, so I chose it for my laminar armors. And for the lacing material, right now I'm using shoes lace because, well, the length and the sort of elastic, pardon my English, the elastic property of the shoe lace is somewhat suitable for my use. I do know that the lacing, well, for some style, they don't require to be sketching, but for some, as say if you want to want your laminar armor to sketch a little bit like this in a certain direction, it's not so good for horizontal, but it's not doesn't scratch so well for in terms of vertically, but well, say horizontally, if you want to flex it, sketch it, a bit sketchy lacing material can be good for such build, because well, usually you will not be naked wearing laminar armors. You want to wear some clothes underneath, maybe some padding, and that will add up to your size. So, your laminar armor being able to sketch out a little bit to fit your body shape is better than not sketching at all. So let's get to weaving them. Now, for the remaining rows, I have these 5 plates, and I will weave them horizontally first with the bullets. As you may see in the test plate, I use those horizontal blue, and the vertical between each row is using the yellow one. Now, because you can see that in the half-finished plate, I'm weaving in such a style. The center plate is being the topless and descendingly to the side. In this way, incoming attack, imagine this is on a wear. The attack coming from the wear's left, yeah, the left of the wear. Imagine there's a wear wearing this armor. The attack coming from the left, high, not low, high. Say it cut at this angle, and the chances are when the blades contact on the armors, if it hits at a certain place at a certain angle, it can easily bounce instead of catching on to the armor. Like these gaps. So laminars, one of the good point about laminar armor is that they can promote bounce for melee attack at a certain angle. That's why you need to consider how do you weave your laminar armor, the way it is. Of course, you can weave it in different ways so that you can say maybe an incoming attack from downward angle can easily, somewhat bounce off it or skid to avoid damage the wear too much. Now let's get to it without further ado. Now because I'm weaving the center plate on top, so how it is like that. The center plate, the side plate, these two, and this is the face, not the backing side. The backing side is smooth, while the surface side is a little bit rough for the pattern and the coloring, whatever it is. you can see, because I want minimal lace exposure to the outside, to the protection side, so that it's less chance for say a blade or something to damage my lace. So that means my lace is not going to go across on top, and I want to start in the back. So I flipped my plate over, and because of this center plate, I would also want to find, say, the middle point of my lace. Fold it in half, I find my middle point here. I position it roughly, and I start weaving. Now you could, well, supposedly you could weave it in whatever way that you like, but it's better to weave them tidily in a pattern so that it don't get wrong. Because, well, say if you're making a Japanese style, the samurai's armor, you're looking at a lot of lacings. It's best to do each horizontal rows tidily. Well, technically it doesn't. Well, it's not necessarily limit to a horizontal row or vertical row. You could, well, weave, or let's just call them X and Y. The X being the row of the first, while the Y being the second axis. Because, well, technically, the laminate armor, you could weave them this way, you can weave them this way, you can weave them, well, any way it's got. It just need to be, say like, mathematically, X and Y. So you can. Well, there's some interesting plate design that is like a hexagon, which how they weave, is kind of funny, but I'm not delving into that method right now. Right now we're looking at a very simple, very basic designs of the laminate armors and how to weave them. So here it is. I have finished my first weave. The center plate, the second plate on each side. See, you can look at it and see that there's only two little, about ½ inch of lace exposed, while most of the lace are in the back. You can tighten it a little bit. Now, we move on to the third plate. You hold it this way. Circle your lace, and you keep weaving. Now, because I'm using shoes lace, and you can see that the shoes lace has a little sign lines. They would indicate that, well, in what direction is it twisting or is it going smoothly. So that's another thing that you might want to keep in mind if you want to weave your laminate armor with shoes lace. Not so much of a problem with paracord, since, well, paracord is all smooth, but, well, whatever. That's not very important. Now I weave the third plate on one side, now to the other. I only weave so little plate because I want to keep this demonstration short, and well, basically this is just a show of concept videos. So long as you get the point, and the weaving pattern is rather monotone, and you're just repeating the process a lot. And once you get the basic, you can get the hang of it very quickly. Now, considering that the 5 plate of my bottom row is, well, basically we've almost together. To keep up the tension between each plate, you should say, if not 5 or longer row, whatever it is, especially longer row, because more lacing, that means more room for slack and looseness. So it is very important that by the end of your X row, or in this case horizontal row, that you tie your end at the last hole that you weave through. Now I'm not going through to the buckles or any attachment method yet. This is just a task, a example, to showcase. So I'm not going to worry about how to attach this plate onto my body or onto my suit. But honestly, I have a suit of laminar armor, which, well, it took quite lots of time to finish it, and you would, well, it's no joke about the time, because it's very time consuming. Now you can see that my row is done. Well, for 5 play, it's not very taking long, though. Well, by now it's almost like 10 minutes. But well, whatever, moving on. Now that we have our horizontal row, we're going to weave them vertically to the rest of the plate. Now, once again, we want to start in the middle. And that means we will find the middle of the lace again. Find that point. Hold it. Now we're not going to touch the bottom row first, because we're going to touch on this first. Now keep your center point remain, know where your center point is. 2 holes, 2 ends of the lace, and pull through. Tidy up the side, the twisting. So this is the start, and sorry about my lacing. Now, the center plate and this center plate, you want to line them up. Also for note, say if you want to do a similar plate style, where the rival connection is 2 hole and 1 hole, the sign with the 1 hole, well, it's best to drill bigger holes, so that the lacing can go through that hole easier. So there's more room for them to move and wiggle. Now, of course, also want to check the twisting. You don't want them to twist the way you don't want them to. You want to keep them tidy. Well, it's not a very major problem. It does affect the look. Oh my god! Well, apparently I made a mistake. I weaved them in the wrong direction. I should weave them from the top, not from the bottom, because this is meant to overlap each other. So it will be the bottom of this center plate, the upper row, will touch to the top side, the protection side of your lower center plate. So this time, presuming that I do it right, let's see. Well, whatever about the twisting. Now I'm very close. Now here, I want my center plate, the lower center plate, to go somewhat in between the top center plate and the top second plate, in between like this. You may ask that, well, why? That's a good question. Because if we travel it down below, not that you can't weave them together, but this way, it's less of an angle. But if I kind of squeeze my lower center plate between this top center plate and the top second plate. You can see that it creates somewhat like a pine cone structure, where each plate is somewhat spaced out in between, and tend to create a convex, not concave, convex surface, which further increase the angle of your armor, and which should the incoming attack, say it doesn't hit directly on the center plate, it hit on the side, it might, well, bounce off easier. And because of the being layered out like this, it helps the ventilation a bit. After all, laminate armor, when you wear it for a long period of time, it can be very, very hot. Now, I reef my center plate, my lower center plate, to the top center plate, and I want to continue to the side. Now I take the lace of one side, go through the hole. Sorry, through. I don't want to put it tight yet on one hole. Also check your twisting. I don't want to put the back side, the bottom side of the lacing tight yet, because I know that if I put it tight, the hole will tend to align themselves into one, and it will be difficult to go through the second hole and back to the original. Now let me just check my twisting, and well, without putting tight, I can try kind of wiggle a little bit to find back the bottom hole again and go through. You can, the concept is that one hole at the top and the bottom, and two holes on the surface, so that they weave together. Kinda. Now, this is where you want to put it tight, so that it appears. There's one hole will be in between the two holes, so that they align somewhat center correctly. But you can see that, well, it's a little bit loose here. How do we fix that? Well, we can pull on the top, just on one side, and pull on the lacing again to tighten it. Now, if you are doing a multiple rows or in multiple plates, this can get somewhat messy, especially with such a lot of loose lasers. So in case, well, that you really want to make such a small piece of laminate armor, or well, it just happens that your lacing is much longer than how your weaving need, it's best that after you tie a knot of your ends to tie them up tightly, or well, cut off the excess so that it doesn't mess with your weaving. Now you can see that I finished one side. I want to check that whether the plates are going in between, like a pine cone, whatever. You can see that this side is quite beautiful. Well, tightly beautiful. And so let's hurry and finish the other side. Once again, ouch. Sorry. I find the right hole and weave it through. Check whether my lacing is twisted or not. Oh, I suppose you could put tie on the first line. Just that, well, the second one. While there's still room to wiggle, you weave through the second hole and find back the bottom single hole. and weave it through. And while it's not completely pulled tight, you want to check that they stack together correctly, somewhat correctly. You see that, well, if you pull tight too early, you want to loosen it a little bit so that you give room for you to wiggle your lading back to the single hole, back through the single hole. Now that when you finish weaving it through, you can start tightening it. Now, vertically, I'm finished weaving. Oh, sorry. You can see that. And now that I'm finished weaving them, this look quite. Oh, sorry. One time, just one. You can see that here. Flex, quite beautiful. So let's just finish it off with tying the lacing together. Tie it up so that it doesn't loosen. Because you want it tight. You don't want it completely tight, but you want it tight enough so that it will not get loose over wearing and use. And chances are, if you're really wearing it for a long time, the lacing, it might scratch, it might grind, and eventually it might break off, and you will have to undo it and repair it. So now you can see that it's very tightly weaved together, and this is how you weave your plate together into a lamellar armor. You can weave it into some kind of a fat, curved, plate. Well, plate for plate. No, like on a. You can wrap it around on your shoulder, your leg. You can weave them into some kind of a skirt. No, leg armors. Now, because this is a rather large plate in terms of size, so it might have a limited use as to where you can put this on for body armor. But say if you're making with Japanese plate, which is long and narrow, you can make some interesting weaving, and that might fit your legs and arms. While large plate like this might usually fit for as a body armor. Anyways, that's all for now. I will let you have another look of how this weave. You can see that basically each row is the same. So once you get the basic, you're pretty much set to how to weave them together. So that's it. Bye bye for now.